Did you guys know we recently hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube? Well, we'd actually be at more like 6,000 if the 85% of you returning viewers actually hit the subscribe button. You scroll down just a little bit and there's going to be a subscribe button for you guys right here. You can even hit like on the video or share it with your friends too while you're down there. And our description box down below also has links to all of the different socials I have. And the best part is you can even leave a comment telling me how much you enjoyed the video, or didn't. I don't care, it's your life. Subscribing doesn't take anything but that 1 second of time, and it really helps make sure that you don't miss any of my uploads. So if you are enjoying watching all of my content, it helps you out, and it helps me out. Now that you've done that, let's get back to the video. Hello everyone, we are back. Ninja Nick here with another round of the Japan Champions League. It looks like this is another round 2 match. A couple 8 and 2s playing. We have another, looks like it must be another Lugia versus Lost Box matchup, just like the previous one we saw. So we'll have to see if this goes the same way or not. Unless I upload these in a completely different order again. Because I think I uploaded day 1 in order of the rounds. So they did, because there was like 6 chien-pao matches in a row, and I just didn't want to upload that many in a row. So if you didn't see this exact same matchup in the previous day's upload, then that's why I wanted to mix it up a bit. So we're going to switch card into our first Comfey. Going to use flower selecting to put 1 card into the lost zone, 1 card into the hand. We have a cat in the background. She's chilling. She cleaned herself good. She thinks she's very delicious. Right, Sonny? She's asleep now. She's got her eyes. They're like this. She's just squinting so hard. I don't even know if you can even see my eyes right now because of the glare from my computer monitor. So not the worst turn 1 from a Lost Box player, especially going first. You can't play a Chorus's Experiment because it is a supporter card. We used to be able to play supporter cards on the first turn. We used to also be able to attack first turn during quite a while ago. I remember when they took away attacking first turn. Now they took away our supporters turn 1 as well. Although it's not the first time they've taken away turn 1 supporters, so. You used to not be able to play trainers period turn 1. There was a format where it was like that. I think taking away the turn 1 attack is very fair. Because there were so many games that would just end in a donk. Especially with the decks that they have today. Like Lost Box would always choose to go second. Because your opponent's like, oh, Ralts pass. And then you're like, okay, I win. Ooh, we have Fusa. Oh, what was it? No, it's Erica's. They showed. Okay, they showed Misfortune Sisters, which is kind of like a mill card. But they actually used Erica's Hospitality instead, which does allow you to look at your opponent's. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it does. Erica's Invitation. Your opponent reveals their hand, and you put a basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench. If you put a Pokemon onto their bench this way, switch that Pokemon into the active spot. Not the best card. It's not bad. It could definitely be viable in like a control strategy, but I don't know about this. And is this not... Is this not Lugia? Because I just see triple Snorlax. This might be actually a control. Snorlax control? But yeah, we're just going to spit innocently for 110. Not needing any energy is really great here. And yeah, it is Snorlax control. So block Snorlax. Probably quad those so that your opponent can never retreat. Pennies to heal. 8-2. I mean, that's a pretty decent record for a deck like that. We are going to see a Lost Vacuum is going to get rid of a Battle VIP pass from hand, as well as the Artisan from play. And we are going to go for a Spit Innocently yet again. So how will this control deck work? We are going to see Pokemon Catcher. This deck will actually be a little bit better when Counter Catcher comes back. They just announced that that is getting reprinted. Yeah, I guess the Artisan came back into play somehow. So we are going to bring the Sableye active. That is because it is not very useful as of yet. Just putting using another penny just to heal off all that damage yet again. This is playing very much like one of my favorite decks of all time, Wailord, which was a very unhealthy deck for any format it was legal in. Just allows you to have a big dude that you just heal every turn, and then your opponent can't, while you just waste your opponent's resources by using Faba, Xerosic. Well, it was Xerosic, then it was Faba. When they printed Faba, Faba was way better. So it puts the card in the Lost Zone. What else did it play? Acerola, AZ. Enhanced Hammer. Oh yeah, and they're going to have the Rotom V. Rotom V, just for the draw 3 ability that it has. It says draw 3, end your turn, which is not bad at all. A lot of control strategies have been using this Rotom V. Quite a lot, actually. Because draw 3, end your turn is very reminiscent of Tropical Beach. And we are going to see a Bravery Charm to it as well to give it a buffed 50 HP extra. And, yeah, looks like this Snorlax was not able to heal, so it does just go down to another Spit Innocently. And you see this player on the right is not playing any additional cards. They're not trying to turbo as fast as possible like a Lost Box deck normally would. They're to their Cramorant. They have the Cramorant in the active spot. They're just gonna keep trying to two-shot these Snorlaxes with this Cramorant in the active, just because they know that that is completely fine. Try to wear the control deck out of their own resources. They want to make sure they're not using too many of their switching cards, just because if they use too many of those, then they might not have it for when another Boss's Orders or Pokemon Catcher brings up something that can't really do a sizable amount of damage in the active spot. You need to keep those switching cards. So we do see the Boss's Orders does bring up the Sableye yet again, which cannot retreat because of the block. And now what do you do here? You can just scratch for 10, or you can try to... Okay, so there's an escape rope. I was going to say you could try to get to 10 cards in the Lost Zone so you can Lost Mine, but I don't know, that seems a little bit extra. So we are going to see an attachment of a Fire Energy for turn to this Comfey, just in case we get through all of the Snorlaxes and maybe there's some other big HP Pokemon the opponent has access to. We might just be able to retreat that. And we're going to go for double Pokemon Catcher. The first is a fail. The second one went off the table, so we're going to reflip yet again. And it looks like that must have been a fail as well. They are going to put it back on screen so we can see it pretty easily here. My cat is exhausted enough that she now has her arm out. Oh, yeah, she's in her Superman pose. So another penny. Okay, so that's 3 pennies so far. We are going to have to find Pal Pad. I would assume there's multiple Pal Pad in this deck to keep reutilizing those pennies. And just going to be a pass to the turn. So control decks like this don't really make a lot of sense to be played in Japan, in my opinion. It is best of 1 30 minutes. It's really hard to finish a control game in 30 minutes. Well, at least a stall game in 30 minutes. I guess there's 2 different ways you can talk about control. I did say this in a YouTube comment section on someone else's video. But there's like 2 different types of control decks, and the way people call traditional control in Pokemon, or like actual control, is not actually how Pokemon intends control to be played. Control decks are supposed to be things like the brand new Venomoth, where you like item lock and confuse your opponent and then still do 30 to them. And then you can move damage counters around with Radiant Alakazam so that you're not knocking out the active, but you are knocking out things on the bench to keep them forever in a lock of both items and confusion. That's how Pokemon is supposed to be played, because you still take prize cards, whereas a deck like this, Snorlax, is really just not meant to really work in the game. But they still keep accidentally printing enough stuff to where these kind of cards will work. So yeah, the Misfortune Sisters is going to look at the top 5 cards of the deck and choose, I think, up to 2 item cards to discard. So there was an escape rope there, so we are going to do that. So that is kind of a mill card. It is pretty good. I knew that as soon as that card came out, I knew that that would be a good card for control decks like this. But yeah, so there's like the standard control decks would be things like Gardevoir EX, where you're playing Io every turn, bossing up threats. You're just always in control of the game. Or Venomoth is more classically control. A deck like this is really just stall, and it tries to win by making your opponent deck out. But can that happen in 30 minutes? Not really. Apparently it has enough, because they're 8-2. But you have to play like a 2-prize Pokemon on your bench in order to just draw cards. We're going to see a Bravery Charm come down to the Snorlax. I don't think that matters, because the Cramorant will take a 2-shot no matter what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are at 8 in the Lost Zone, right? As soon as that Bravery Charm moves, I'll be able to check. It's cut off on your screen, but not on mine. Yes, there are 8 cards in the Lost Zone here. And the Pidgeot V comes down so that we can use this for a Seal Stone to search your deck for any 1 card. We will be able to do that and then shuffle the Pidgeot V back into the deck so that we don't have that extra 2-prize liability in play. Another thing you could do is it could always take a hit from your opponent. Then you could switch it to the bench with something like that switch card and then shuffle it back into the deck. And that's another way to heal it. So it could just be used as essentially a stall card as well. So going to bring up a Comfey, the one that does not have energy on it. Move into the Black Snorlax. And we are keeping track of how many Escape Rope and Switch cards are in the Lost Box's discard pile, because I did see those all be brought to the back of it here. So there are 3 Escape Ropes as well as 2 Switch cards. So it's going to be a little bit difficult at this point for the Lost Box player to keeping up. They've only taken 2 prize cards. They've had to 2-shot multiple Snorlax, and a lot of them did just end up getting healed by the pennies. I feel like this deck would be very bad against Miraidon, because you'd have... I think the only thing that this would have going for it... Or no, because I guess you'll block, right? So if you just have, like, I guess double Raikou in play or something. So that's the thing. If you know you're playing against a deck like this, what you do is you start Cramorant, and then you Colress's Experiment twice, and then never put any more cards in the Lost Zone, and just, like, draw pass every turn, keeping just the Cramorant in play. And then you just spit innocently every single turn. You don't need any energy on the Cramorant in order to attack. And that's generally how I would beat decks like Durant when those were played in, like, Players... What was it? The Players Cup, was it called? No, Team Challenge. That's what it was. Team Challenge. There was somebody from my locals that would always play Durant. So here comes a boss's order. Is going to bring up yet another Comfey. And we're still stalling for time here. That Rotom really needs to be healed up, because that has quite a lot of damage on it. It's been hit twice. So if there's a way, if there's like a Volo to discard it, or maybe another Penny to pick it up, would be pretty good. We are going to use Flower Selecting. It is a little risky because you are getting rid of 1 card from your deck, as well as using this Chorus's Experiment. That's getting rid of 5 more from your deck. And you know your opponent is trying to win by decking you out. And I want to know how many of those 2 losses that this player on the left has is by a double game loss for a tie. Because as I've mentioned multiple times before, in Japan, they highly discourage decks like this from performing because they have double game losses instead of ties. So you can either win or lose. But it looks like we are going to take the knockout with the Sableye. Going to move some extra damage around. We're going to put 60 to one Snorlax, 50 to the other, and then finish off the Rotom V with the last 1 damage counter to take 2 prize cards, going down to 2 remaining. And it may be possible for this Lost Box deck to win the game. So it looks like we are going to Super Rod that Rotom back into the deck. So that we can still draw some more cards, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what you do at this point if you're this control player. Yeah, I guess you can play the Erica and hope that... they do have a big hand, right? You haven't Ionode them yet. So you could play the Erica, hope that there is a Pokemon in their hands that isn't super relevant to you that can be forced into the active. So it's like having an additional boss's orders. It's just a little more situational. But it looks like we're instead going to go for the Iono. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel. I think... You'd almost want to play a card like Grabber in this deck just to be able to see your opponent's hand, to see if you can use the Erica. But of course, if there's only 1 Pokemon in there and you use the Grabber, that puts 1 of their Pokemon to the bottom of the deck, and then you can't use the Erica. So here comes Palpad's going to put Double Boss back into the deck, and Palpad is going to put Boss Penny back into the deck. I knew we were going to see multiple Palpads at some point in the game. The only thing that we're missing here is that Rotom again to try to draw into those with its ability. And just a pass here. But if you do put the Rotom down, that's a really easy 2 prize liability. Your opponent's only at 2 prize cards remaining. They use the Lost Mine of the Sableye to just put damage counters onto, onto that. And yeah, it looks like the Sableye is spreading damage to 2 different Snorlaxes. That way, if one of these does get maybe pennied up, we can actually see both, still 1 knockout at least with the Sableye on the next turn. Pokemon Catcher is going to fail, so that is 3 catchers down, 4 catchers down now from this player. Only 7 minutes left on the clock. They're really going to have to race to get their opponent decked out at this point. And yeah, again, I'm not sure how this deck takes wins very quickly. I think it's just one of those decks that you win by your opponent being not skilled. Like your opponent needs to know how to play against the deck, and they might have never seen a deck like this be played before, and just burn all of their resources before they realize you're not playing Lugia. And that's how you win. But I think definitely by my second turn of the game, I definitely would identify exactly what my opponent is playing. And yeah, we did take 1 knockout on a Snorlax, and then we put the other damage counters to the active Snorlax. That way, it has 110 HP remaining, so we can knock it out with either the Sableye or the Cramorant. So both of these Snorlax can go down easily by either of these attacking Pokemon. We just have those Sableye or those Comfey on the bench that hopefully do not get bossed up. And of course we do find a boss's orders, so we are going to have to find one more switching card. We're down all of our escape ropes. We might have a couple switch carts remaining, and we do have one in hand, and we are going to be able to use Sableye to take the last prize card of the game, putting all of our damage counters just onto that Snorlax on the bench. More than we need, and we are able to take that game. So like to see that the Lost Box player was able to pick apart that deck strategy and play effectively, because again, that type of deck really only feeds on bad players in the current standard format. As always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see y'all next time.